Because I took so long to make the previous video, I decided to work extra hard and finish this one as fast as I could. My review of this new episode. And trust me, we have a lot to talk about. Let me know if you enjoy this new format, because I'm trying to make a video right after watching the episode so you can understand my entire thought process. After that, I'll make another video where I analyze everything in more depth. I feel like, in this episode, a lot of people are finally starting to come to their senses. We have Henry truly realizing the insanity of that place. I believe his insight will be very important, because he surely spent a lot of time looking at Miranda's drawings. Henry immediately recognized the yellow suit and the boy in white, so maybe in the future they'll see something else that reminds him of Miranda's drawings. I know I've kinda trashed Tabitha in my videos, but for once I'm truly proud of her. She finally admits that she's scared and doesn't know what to do, and instead of being an overprotective mother, she lets her child deal with grief in their own way. I was sure she would force Julie to come with them, yet instead she simply told Randall to make sure her daughter stayed safe. Very mature of her. I really liked her in this episode. Regarding Fatima's golem, I know she explained why she's creating it, but while she was making it and talking about how she could feel what Smiley was feeling, I had an interesting thought. What if Fatima saw something similar while she was giving birth? We know that she saw glimpses of the ritual, so maybe there was something similar there. If in the previous seasons the Bible references were more subtle, in Season 4 they are being thrown right in our faces. In the last episode we had the story of Achan, a person who directly defied one of God's commands and stole from the city. Now in this episode, we have the story of Abraham, a person who listened to God despite the unbelievable task he was given, sacrificing his son. Abraham's faith was so great that he was ready to sacrifice Isaac, but right before the killing blow, God stopped him because he had seen Abraham's devotion. Instead of his son, God demanded a ram as the sacrifice. And here's another interesting idea. What if the ram we saw hanging in the bag over the motel sign actually symbolizes the ram from the story of Abraham? It's very interesting that we have two stories in two consecutive episodes. One about a person who defied God, and one about a person who obeyed God no matter the command. After seeing this episode and seeing Sarah while Sophia was mentioning the story of Abraham, I'm convinced that Sarah is Abraham. So if we have Abraham from the story, could one of the townspeople also be Achan? I must admit that I was wrong. In some of my previous videos, I speculated that the voices Sarah hears could actually be good and might be trying to help the people trapped there. But after seeing Sophia chanting something, and right after that the voices started speaking to Sarah, I'm now convinced that the man in yellow has complete control over the voices, and that he has been the one talking to Sarah all along. This is extremely interesting, especially when we think about the most important message Sarah heard. Kill the boy. Kill Ethan. Tying this together with the fact that Ethan is looking for the Lake of Tears, this could suggest that Jim was right all along. The Lake of Tears is real, and it may actually be the way everyone gets home. The voices telling Sarah to kill the boy was the man in yellow trying to make things easier for himself during this cycle. If Ethan had been killed, then nobody would have known about the Lake of Tears, meaning the children could never be saved. But now everyone is looking for it. It's also important to note that the man in yellow killed Jim, the person who told Ethan about the lake, and also tried to kill Ethan, who is currently searching for it. Now that we know the voices belong to the man in yellow, I found it quite odd that they told Sarah Fatima had been taken. Was that only meant to mock them and terrorize them even further? The last thing I want to add about the voices goes back to the ending of Season 1, when Boyd and Sarah were in the woods and Sarah heard the voices telling her to stop. The man in yellow even goes as far as impersonating Abby, probably thinking that if Boyd heard about the fish and loaves, he would turn back. I think this pretty much confirms that the man in yellow doesn't want people near the lighthouse, which could mean that the lighthouse is actually the way home. The reason why Sophia gave Sarah such a weird task is pretty simple. The man in yellow only bluffed Sarah when he told her she needed to go to the dinner, drink water, and pour it back. He knew Sarah wouldn't complete this task, so he intentionally set it up that way. He approached her as Sophia, befriending someone who is desperately looking for a place to belong. At this moment, only Boyd and Sophia trust Sarah. Knowing this, Sophia throws herself into the pool, hurting herself, just to prove to Sarah that the voices are absolute. Now, every time the voices tell Sarah to do something, even if that thing is terrible, she'll do it because Sarah can't risk losing another person she cares about. The reason why I believe Sarah refused to follow the original order, to drink the water and pour it back, can be found in her conversation with Elgin. She told him, "Whatever is wrong with me, what if it's like an infection? What if I pass it on to someone else? And then the voices start torturing them too." So I believe the reason Sarah didn't put the water back is because she thought she may have contaminated it, and that everyone who drank it would also start hearing the voices. I kind of have some bad news to tell you guys. I hope I'm wrong, but that heart-to-heart conversation between Donna and Tabitha really felt like foreshadowing for Donna's death. I mentioned in a previous video that Donna has slowly shifted into more of a secondary character, and honestly, Donna has been through enough. She feels like someone who is close to breaking. That's why her sacrificing herself to save Tabitha and the children would make perfect sense for the direction the story seems to be heading. Here's a crazy idea I had after seeing the bookmark Julie drew. What if the talismans are actually bookmarks? Bookmarks that send you back to the beginning, back to the sacrifice itself. We saw that the talismans contain 8 trees, which made it a popular theory that this could signify the 7 children that were sacrificed and the boy in white who escaped. We also see bodies positioned head to head, surrounded by a half moon and half sun. I believe this central human figure represents the monsters. The sun and moon could symbolize that they traded their ability to walk in daylight in exchange for only being able to come out at night. Maybe this is why the trees look mirrored, because the monsters now exist in reverse to the natural order of the world. They can walk during the night instead of the day, and they cannot die. I don't know, maybe it's a far-fetched idea, but I still wanted to share it with you. Moving forward, we finally have an answer to one of the biggest questions in the series. Who was responsible for the massacre? And now we know it was the man in yellow. I can completely understand Victor's reaction now when he saw that yellow suit. It's also interesting to note that the man in yellow didn't recognize Julie. He thought she was just a townsperson who had escaped. Maybe this was actually the first meeting between the two. After seeing this scene, I can't stop wondering if my theory about Julie traveling back in time and being the one who helped Victor survive all these years could actually be correct. Another thing worth mentioning is the man in yellow eating human organs. We've never seen this behavior from the monsters before, so this feels completely new. Do you think this has a deeper significance and could somehow be tied to the monster's origins? After hearing Victor say that the man in yellow entered his cycle just like everyone else did, we can safely assume that the reason Sophia told the priest, before killing him, that this is the only way to get into the town is because Victor would have recognized the man in yellow immediately otherwise. Here's a funny thought I had that was instantly proven wrong in the very next scene. When Victor told his dad to follow him, I was sure he was going to lead him to the truck where he buried the drawings of the man in yellow. While he was saying that, I actually thought to myself that for someone who doesn't remember most of his childhood, and maybe even parts of his teenage years, Victor has an incredibly good memory when it comes to remembering where he hid things. Coming back to the episode, seeing the new drawings made me ask myself, how many drawings does Victor actually have that we still don't know about? I mean, we are already pretty far into the story, so seeing him dig up even more drawings made me wonder if there are still huge pieces of information hidden within them that we'll discover later in the series. Regarding Abby's ring that Boyd found in Colony House, I honestly have no idea what to make of it at the moment. My only thought was that it's too bad he didn't show the ring to Jade because Jade could probably confirm whether it was real or not. Well, considering the mushrooms Jade took don't seem to affect him anymore. And now for the part all of you have been waiting for. The final scene, when something rises from the lake, based on the fact that we saw a scarecrow-like monster in the trailer, and those same creatures were dug up by the people near the cabbages. I think it's safe to assume that whatever rose from the lake are those scarecrow monsters. I also think we're going to see them attack the group while they're trapped in the cabin during the night. The only question now is Donna going to survive this night? Or was the foreshadowing actually real? The last thing I want to quickly mention is the bird they found in the woods. It has to mean something. Maybe the lake has healing properties. Honestly, I kind of doubt it because it would be way too easy for them to find the Lake of Tears just like that. But there's definitely something important about that bird. This episode gave us a huge amount of new clues, especially about the man in yellow, the voices, and the possible connection to the Lake of Tears. At this point, it really feels like the story is finally starting to reveal how everything connects together. But as always with From, every answer seems to create even more questions. Let me know your theories in the comments, especially about the scarecrow monsters, Sarah's connection to the voices, and whether you think Julie could actually be traveling through time to help Victor. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe because we still have a lot to uncover this season. See you in the next one.